I'll never forget the time I was sitting on my sofa, happily scrolling through my holiday photos when I cringed. I realized how much weight I'd put on in my midlife. Things had got out of hand without me even realizing it. And while some of you might be watching this and laughing, saying she's way too old to be beach ready, I don't think there's ever a time when you won't want to be beach ready in your own individual way. Some of us just want to dip our toes in and lose a few pounds, while others of us, we want to look our very best and feel confident enough to be able to hang out on the beach in whatever we want to wear. But things get really difficult, particularly for women over a certain age, particularly for women in their perimenopause or menopause, in midlife. It's a real struggle to keep the weight off. And in all honesty, that is probably why the weight loss jab has become so extraordinarily popular amongst a lot of people who think that this is a really great way to be able to shift those pounds and get back to their old self. This was me too. I wanted to investigate the potential for the jab and what it could do for me. I started to research. I wanted to know, were there any downsides to taking the jab? And what were the risks and the side effects? And that's when I found something really quite shocking. So if you're considering taking the weight loss jab, then please watch this. For me, it's always been a priority to lose weight without losing my mind. I needed to do it in the way that was easiest for me and had the least impact on my quality of life. That's all very well and good. When you are a woman of a certain age, your metabolism slows down and everything you eat seems to have an impact on your weight. So when the weight loss jab came along and everyone was talking about this amazing thing that allowed them to reduce their weight in a very short amount of time, everyone, including me, has been paying attention. Of course, the first thing that crossed my mind was, this is way too expensive, but I also wanted to know the details about what it actually might be doing for my body. We're all given these promises that the weight loss jab will help us lose weight without any effort and with minimal disruption to our lives. It's a very attractive option. So absolutely no judgment from me to anybody who's thinking about taking the jab. It's definitely something that I would have considered had I not found out the risks. So if you've recently been looking at your holiday pictures and you realise you've put on a few pounds that you want to lose, I want to share this with you so you're going into it with your eyes wide open and you understand what risks might be ahead for you. And also to highlight that there are some natural alternatives. So you can either consider to take a drug, which will have some risks, or you can consider to do something that's much more natural that can bring the same kind of benefit. So I've done a lot of research. I'm actually a trained health coach. I am not a doctor. I say this all the time. I am just a woman who likes to sit in her camper van at the beach and share what she's learned. So please do your own research. But this is going to give you a bit of a head start about what you need to be thinking about and what the consequences are of the weight loss jabs. So I've been listening to a lot of doctors and a lot of information that's out there. One of which is Dr. Benjamin Bickman. There's also Dr. Boz, Dr. Berry. There's all kinds of doctors who will give you some really valuable advice. But first of all, start here because I'm going to give you some information from the perspective of somebody who's over the age of 50 who wanted to do the weight loss jab. And since I found out actually how it works and the implications of taking it regularly, especially for someone who's female over 50, then you need to watch this. So first of all, knowing how it actually works is really important. So the weight loss jab plays around with our gut-derived hormones and particularly GLP-1. So first, these drugs were developed in the context of diabetes. People with diabetes were given this particular jab to help with their diabetes, to cut their weight and to bring the benefits of insulin resistance into their life by reducing or completely reversing their diabetes. It's a fantastic drug for that because the consequences of diabetes are so extraordinary and negative. However, if you've not got anything wrong in your life, you're just trying to lose some weight, then the side effects are a little bit different. So all in all, for those who are suffering from diabetes, these jabs do their job and then some. So GLP-1 is a hormone that we make in our small intestines, in our gut. We make it all the time. It is naturally something that our body produces. The role of GLP-1 is to help us tell ourselves that we are full, so we no longer need to eat. So it basically stops our appetite when we are full, satiated, and we do not need any more food. So the problem with people overeating is this is often skewed because of internal systems. They're not producing enough GLP-1 and other hormones to actually tell the brain they're full and they don't need any more food. Or the types of food they're actually eating has an impact on how much GLP-1 they are producing. Carbohydrates are known to reduce the amount of GLP-1 that we do produce naturally, whereas protein and fat helps to increase the production of GLP-1. This means that carbs can have a profound impact on how hungry you feel after having had a meal full of carbs. So if you have a meal full of protein and fats, you're much more likely to feel full and as if you don't need any more food for a while after that. Whereas if you have a big bowl of fish and chips by the sea, it was a wonderful experience at the beach, but you will probably come away after an hour or so feeling hungry again, even though you've had a massive meal and you're still digesting it. There is a research paper that shows that some people are fighting against their own natural mechanisms when they're eating carbohydrates, and others find it a real struggle to know when to stop eating. So if after a meal of carbohydrates, you find yourself being driven into the kitchen to open the fridge time and time again, and you just don't know why, because you're thinking, how can I still be hungry? This might be why. It might be because your GLP-1 hasn't been produced in enough volume to be able to bring down your appetite. And there's scientific research which shows this is the case. So focusing on GLP-1 production through the weight loss jab can really work well for some people who are struggling to manage their weight. But at what cost? We know that muscle is incredibly important for our metabolism. And when you get to a certain age, especially women over the age of 55 to 60, keeping and maintaining your muscle must become a real priority, because unfortunately we lose muscle naturally every single year and we lose bone. And this means that we are already challenged naturally because it's a natural process to lose muscle and bone as we grow older. And research shows that after the age of 60, it's incredibly difficult to start building your bone and your muscle again. So you just need to focus on trying to keep what you've got. Having good muscles and bone, which is called your lean mass, is really protective. It helps you live longer. It helps to stop trips and falls and everything else that comes with old age. So keeping yourself strong and lean and full of muscle and dense bone will help stop breakages. It will help stop things happening that will mean illness, injury, and other problems. And this is the point I want to make in terms of the weight loss jab. The Step 5 trials in the New England Journal of Medicine highlighted that for every 6 pounds of fat loss resulting from the jab, they were also losing 4 pounds of lean mass. And this lean mass means muscle and bone. This means you're losing muscle and you are losing bone density that you cannot replace from a certain age. Now, if you're younger, then you have a much better chance of being able to replace this. But if you're older like me, then you cannot replace this after a certain age. So this is something incredibly important that people need to know before they're thinking about going on the jab. You're going to lose muscle, you're going to lose bone density, and actually you may never be able to get that back. And that will have an impact on your metabolism and overall ability to burn fat and produce energy from the food that you consume. But also you will risk osteoporosis. So the loss of bone mass and muscle is a reason for people becoming frail. It's a very bad thing. So there are case studies now coming out, and I urge you to do some research of young women who have been on the weight loss jab now for maybe a year or two, and they are starting to show signs of osteoporosis in their bone density scans. So this is really crazy. It's something to be fully aware of if you're thinking about taking the weight loss jab for yourself. So Dr. Benjamin Bickman, in an interview that he recently had, and I will link that below in the description, please watch it. It's really important, and you can skip forward to this particular bit. He says that for a woman, if you have lost a stone on this weight loss jab, then it means 40% of that weight will actually be due to mass, muscle mass and bone mass. So your metabolism is going to be lower, which means when you come off the jab, even if you're eating less than you were before, you will still gain weight. Dr. Benjamin Bickman shared that in the UK, about 70% of people want to come off the weight loss jab after 2 years. And thinking about it in realistic terms and based on the research that's now available, this means that most of those people will gain back fat, the fat that they've lost, but they may gain back even more because they do not have the same available muscle and bone density, which would help them to keep the fat off. Dr. Bickman also claimed that only being on the jab for a year can have a significant impact on your overall health and ability to maintain your metabolism and to keep your muscle and your bone density up. And even worse is if you are a woman who is thinking that she is overweight when she's not, and she's actually really very lean, the only thing that you're going to lose is muscle and bone density. So you may get smaller and you may get lighter, but this is going to be muscle and bone, which will have a massive impact on your health in the future. And when I heard this, I felt I needed to share it. I know it can seem so tempting to go on these weight loss jabs because you're going to lose weight quickly, but you're not going to lose the right kind of weight. You're going to lose bone density and muscle density. And these are just two of the side effects. There's so many other risks as well, including mental health issues. My priority is going to be losing weight without losing my mind. I had a stroke when I was 38, and I know how important it is to keep brain health a priority. Now, they don't know why this is happening with the weight loss jab in terms of mental health issues, but they're thinking that the jab is bringing down your cravings for your food, but it's bringing down your cravings for everything. It's bringing down your cravings to have a good social life, to have fun, to go out with friends, to catch up with people, to be involved in hobbies, and to do all kinds of other things that make you happy. So the jab seems to dampen these feelings as well, so that you don't want to get involved in all of this, and it means that you feel really down and depressed. But don't worry, because thankfully there is a natural alternative to the weight loss jab, and I'm going to share that with you now. So yes, instead of having a jab which is controlled by big pharma, you can actually use food and natural sources to be able to control your appetite and the production of your GLP-1. Reducing your carbohydrates, increasing your proteins and increasing your fats is one of the best ways to be able to bring about all kinds of improvements to your body and to be able to increase your fat burning, bone density and muscle density. Remember that muscle and bone are not made from carbohydrates. It is made from protein and fat, and that's why we need to really focus on eating more protein and not fearing fat. Whether that's in really good oils or avocados, nuts, seeds, or from oily fish, fatty meat, all of these things and sources of fat and protein are really good for your system. The other thing you can do is start taking berberine, a natural supplement which helps to reduce your cravings, to balance out your sugar levels in your blood, and also for the body to produce natural GLP-1. If you change your diet, you'll have the same benefits. The food chatter and cravings will stop, your mood will lift, you'll feel satiated, you'll be eating well, but you won't be gaining weight. And if you increase the amount of walking you do, so this is the low impact exercise, not high cardio exercise. And if you also include some weight bearing exercises in there, you're going to be able to control your weight, but you won't do that to the consequence of losing bone or muscle density. If you're still considering using the weight loss drug, talk to your doctor and do your research and find out what the long-term implications will be for you, because this might be something that you can't undo, especially if you're a woman who is going through perimenopause or menopause, or you have gone through that and you are over the age of 60. As I always say, if something looks too good to be true, then it probably is. And in this case, I really do think it has its place, But be careful if you are a certain age and you are considering going on the weight loss jab. In my opinion, the key to a successful and satisfying life is to find liberation in the way that you live, and to be liberated from all controlling factors, including the people you know, the people you meet, the work influences, and the food influences in your life. Let me know in the comments if any of the things I've shared have been a shock to you. Please spread the message. Onward to the beach, my friends.